And welcome to the work session of the Mayor and Council with the Berlin Fire Company and Berlin Fire Company EMS. We are expecting Councilmember Nichols to join us as we're going through the meeting. So once she arrives, we do have 3 council members present for a quorum. We have Councilmember Green, Councilmember Nur, and Councilmember. With that, we're going to start our conversation with the Berlin Fire Company with the fire company agenda. So David Fitzgerald, President of the Fire Company, and Chief Andy Grundon. Go ahead.
Well, we'll just jump in. Some of it's a review or from both sides. Impact fees, I understand you're still working on, a study of some sort. But as the study goes and when it gets there, I just want to reiterate, opportunities are being missed. Maybe there's another approach. Another local municipality has what they've done instead of an impact fee, they've just upped their building permit fees. That's going to the fire company. Just again, every time, because we're writing these multi-page, and I don't know if you see them or they just go to the planning commission. When there's a development, we write, if it's a 3-story, that's impact fee or use of the ladder truck, and how much that costs. So every time, you're just missing an opportunity is all I'm saying. And I know you got to study, and studies take time, but missing opportunities. Maybe you look at a different thing and look at just doing something on the building.
You know how much they raised?
$1,000. Pittsville's $1,000, and Summerville's $500
Per permit?
Per permit. That's the way I understand it. I know Summerville for a fact because I talked to the person in Summerville, was $500, and that goes to their capital. And I talked to a Pittsville fire person, and he believed that they actually did $1,000.
So there's no breakdown? The fire company gets all of it?
The fire company gets all of it. I know for Selbyville, it's restricted. It's for just what we said. What we've asked for it to be for is capital replacement, the wear and tear of the apparatus, especially the apparatus.
So just an update on where we stand with the impact fees. You can correct me if I'm wrong. We did issue an RFP for impact fees. We did not get anybody to respond. Mary and I have put our heads together on another way to fund the study with a firm, so we're working through that. We think that they can start that project hopefully before the end of the calendar year, but that is something that we're still continuing to proceed forward with. I'd be careful going up on impact fees plus going up on planning fees because it's kind of a double whammy. We want to make sure that it picks up the cost and realize the fire company is not the only one with capital increases and stuff regarding the growth and development of the town. So I think we got to find a way that we can capture that all the way around.
Forgive my ignorance. What's the town charging right now for impact fees?
2,000. That's codified.
Yeah. But the challenge is that for impact fees, what you need to be able to do is substantiate it. So if we're going to go up on the impact fees, we have to have a way of justifying that math. And
That's why the study.
that's right. It exceeds our expertise internally. So we want to make sure that we have that well documented for anybody that may ask a question in the future.
And I think for our part of it, I think using those documents that we turn in when we have the opportunity to reply, I think those last paragraphs, we explain what the financial is impact. If it's a multi-story, we're telling you that's wear and tear on the aerial truck. If it's a apartment complex, we're telling you, hey, that's a lot of units. That's going to be a lot more wear and tear on the ambulances. So I think we're helping you justify, again, if you want copies of those.
We're not saying that you're not. Please don't.
Well, no, I'm not saying you're not. I'm just trying to help you. We're supposed to be as a team working together. There's the ammunition, and maybe you do the building permit thing, or you do something else as an interim while this study's going on. Because, you all know what's coming down the planning commission better than we do. We see what we see, and you've got some stuff coming up with a hotel and convenience store, and once those go by, they're gone. That's opportunities missed.
Can you forgive my ignorance a second time? What is
Only a
of
second
the?
time.
I'm going to need to leave that open. Of the 2,000, how is that allocated? Is that codified as well?
That's the problem. We have no record of how that was.
So originally the math.
Or how is it in current practice allocated?
it goes into a set impact fee
Yeah,
fund.
into a fund.
But the way that.
How does the fund get allocated
By the
then?
mayor and council. So,
Towards,
well, it has to be, you can, yeah, go ahead. What's the breakdown on how you
It's
can
the
use
types
impact
of
fees?
uses.
It has to be for obviously.
Directly impacted growth, right?
Yeah. It
So-
could be roads, it could be parks.
is
It
there a
has to be
public,
general in nature, not associated with the enterprise.
is there,
funds,
is there a
utilities.
public safety nature to, like, do the police get?
Historically, they do not.
So as it stands right now, the 2,000 goes into a fund, the fund gets spent.
Typically on
However you see
streets.
fit.
Yeah, we've used.
Typically on
to
streets,
re-
like the last
repave
time.
Streets and things like that.
Sidewalks.
Last time
So
we
like
used a
civil
large-
engineering infrastructure.
Yep. So, but the nice part about breaking it down through a study would be, we could further allocate those, right? It could be, okay, a percentage of this goes into a direct capital fund for X, Y, and Z. But right now, to Mary's point, the way that we derived the town of Berlin, not us here at this
Right.
table, derived the $2,000 figure was through math, right? We just can't find that math. So,
Hence
we
the
are-
study.
Correct, and we are confident that it exceeds $2,000. $2,000 is light.
I would agree.
However, we do not have the math on hand to back that up.
Do you have best practices for other municipalities of our size?
You have to hire a professional
You can't, we
accounting
can't,
firm.
like, MML can't produce something,
They
at
can,
least to s-
They
get
would
it.
have to examine our full budget and figure
It
it
has
out
to be
from there.
yeah.
It's gotta be a professional firm that
Consultancy that
does
does it.
this, yeah.
And we plan to try and take it a step further as well and really have, like, okay, if we're gonna annex a parcel of property and it's gonna be annexed as commercial, what's the impact look like, right?
I think we can all
calculate-
agree, more people in, puts a stress on everything.
Correct,
Pipes, roads, public safety. So,
I agree. And our police department feels the same impacts, you all feel it.
absolutely.
Our trash trucks, streets, all
Right,
that
and
stuff.
everybody's got some skin in the game.
Correct. But we want to make sure that each development is helping pay for their share of those increased costs, right? Because right now, if it's not, then it's being subsidized by somebody else.
So Dave, just for the benefit of everybody watching, and for me, really, I don't know, some of my colleagues may already know, when you give your report to the planning commission for the project that they've asked you to review, what exactly are you reviewing? Like, when you say wear and tear on a vehicle, you're not going there every day.
So there's best practices, as the chief said. There's an operational part of that report, which the chiefs and EMS captains tell me what they see the challenges are for that. The street's not wide enough for such and so. And then the fiscal aspect, we can look at apartment complexes right within our own area and say we have an apartment complex of 25, and we know how many times we're going there, and now we have a proposed one of 100, well, we just multiply that times 4. Because if you're going to this complex of 25 apartments 5 times a year, you're probably going to go 20 times a year to an apartment complex of 100.
And that's a best practice.
And that's just as whoever just said it, it's math, and it's math that we can show you. So when somebody says, well, how'd you come up with this? Well, we went to apartment complex A, who has 25 apartments. We went 4 times this year, or 24 times this year. So we're going to estimate, and that's what we did many times over for Oceans East. And it's proven pretty accurate, believe it or not, the numbers that we come up. We were beat down a little bit about the fire, so we wouldn't ever go. Well, we've had several apartments on fire, elevator rescues, the medical. Every building doesn't have elevators, only one. So when you've got that person having a heart attack on the 3rd floor, the ambulance crew needs help. Volunteer fire company's got to come. So, but we have math to show that, and we can even reach out further. Say we have an apartment like this, 730 units. We call some other town and say, hey, you have an apartment complex with about 700 units. How many times do you go there for fire and ambulance calls? Okay, there's your math. There's how to do it. So
So from the moment you get a set of plans from the town, how much time does the fire company spend reviewing those?
Well, we only usually get like 2 days' notice. Last time, we only got 8 hours notice.
But from the moment you get it, how much actual time does this fire company?
If we have time, it'll be.
Yeah, I went out to, actually, Oceans East is expanding.
Right.
Right, we all know that. So I had to go out there, not that, that's the wrong way to frame that. I went out there to meet them because they're trying to juggle a little bit of how they're going to do the road patterns. Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we, what was it, an alteration in the plan?
Yeah.
And basically say, are you guys okay if we do this versus this? Can we do A rather than B? Stuff like that. So, and sometimes until we go out and actually put eyes on what they're trying to do.
Right.
And, what looks good on paper from a practicality standpoint, especially if you have one way in and one way out, it takes a moment to actually look at how many fire trucks are coming, where are they coming from? If there's one way in, one way out, can they go around another way to free up that access? If they can't, and we're blocking the one way in, and this goes to something you said, if we're gonna lay supply line across the one way in, one way out, let's say you have an outside-in fire. The prior administration said you'll never have a fire there. We've got 3. It's typically gonna be outside, it's a sprinkler building, right? But people put everything on their balconies, or they smoke in places they're not supposed to smoke. So you have an outside-in fire, you're laying 5 inches across the only way in and out, and sooner or later, somebody's gonna be frustrated that they have to sit there in their neighborhood, and they're gonna drive over it.
Right.
Now we've torn up hose, now we have to lay other hose. God forbid they do it twice. It's a lot to effort, and you have to effort, is this gonna be a medical small major emergency? Is this gonna be, they're all single alarm response, a 1 alarm fire. But let's say the wind's driving. Now we have to game out 1 alarm, 2 alarm. As soon as it's in the attic of, and I hate to stay on Oceans East, but it's our biggest populous place. If it's in the attic and the wind's blowing and we're not on it immediately, it's going to get away. And now you're talking about 2, 3, 4 alarms of fire equipment, and you've got to game that all the way out.
They don't know what that means.
Lots and lots of fire trucks. But more fire trucks followed by more fire trucks followed by more. It's clogged up, people are gonna get upset.
They don't know.
And then you have to sort of plan for what happens when they run over your supply line. It's almost inevitably gonna be happening. If the incident's longer than 2 or 3 hours, the police will be there. People are gonna start really getting angry.
So I'm just trying to put a value on how much time you actually spend.
I'd say a complex plan could be up to 16 hours, man hours.
Between
3 people, between 3 people.
Right.
If it's something
That's
very
just one
simple.
project.
Right. If it's something very simple,
Yeah.
what that simple might be, like a single building, like the Gay Street building.
Right.
While it was simple in nature, it was on a triangle lot, and it first proposed at 4 stories. So that all had to be researched by that chief, like he said, the chief at that time thinking out and telling me what type.
Right.
And that, so I'd say 8 to 16 hours based on what kind of project it is.
It-
And then, like you said,
It's hard to pitch
I know that.
and sometimes you gotta go do a visit.
Yeah.
You gotta take a ride.
Of course, yeah.
And like outside of the town, well, is the Berlin MSP barrack, is that in town?
In town.
It's in.
So we had to go over there, and then we had to call Ocean City and get the measurements for their ladder trucks to game out. Again, we have 1 ladder truck, it's gonna take 2 or 3 if something gets going in there. So it's not easy to give you what you're looking for, and more, even though the square footage of one place may be huge, and the square footage of like that corner lot over there is relatively speaking small, it presents its own huge challenges over there. Just
But
by nature of it.
ultimately, so like when we look at the impact fee item, right? So when we do that, we're gonna need to have a conversation, whoever does the study, with you all, with your finances, because they're gonna use cost-based accounting to figure out, because we can't apply a fee for a ladder truck to every major, like, multi-story building. We can't do that, so we gotta say, okay,
Or
Berlin.
impacts are even on single-family homes on an infill
Yeah.
lot.
So, and I mean, a home can be 3 stories in Berlin. So the thing is that what we'll have to do is we'll have to say, okay, this is kind of our standard amount of apparatus that we have. This is about our replacement costs. And then they go through and they'll use cost-based accounting to figure that out and apply a fee over time. And that's what we'll have to do, because we just can't apply the same metric of, I know you all use it to come up with like your call volume estimates. That's fine for that type of a project, but when we're talking about applying a fixed fee for impact fees, we'll have to take it a little bit.
Are you guys committed to the fixed
Yeah.
fee?
It'll be
Because, I mean,
a-
the cost of.
It'll be a fixed fee for commercial based off of square footage, and it'll be a fixed fee for residential.
Well, if I took a box of Oceans East and a box of a house on Washington Street, a bigger one, the amount of calls coming out of that one box in Oceans East is gonna be higher. 'cause there's more.
Right, so that's what we're saying the same thing.
Okay, yeah.
Footage, yeah.
Yeah, and you
Because
should,
of
It just has to be justified.
A commercial,
You
that's
learn
like a
appreciation.
commercial
Yeah,
residential.
you think you do, it's cost-based, you see how,
Thank you, Sarah.
no. Yeah, and we're on the same page.
if I took,
That's what
Pat,
you do.
yeah, I got you.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to operating funding,
Yep.
item 2.
Yep, not really anything really to report there. I did do a printout if you want to pass those around or whatever. We are. I just updated the chart that we had given several years ago.
We're gonna need 2 more down here.
Oh, sorry.
It's thick paper.
It's just that color we got.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I just updated the sheet. We give it to you every so often. So, this year went from 200 to 205. It's nothing that you all don't know and need us to tell you over and over again about the fixed operating costs going up because everything's going up. We just went through our annual inspections on the fire trucks, and just the flat rate of those are going up because the parts and what have you are going up. So just wanted to update you that. Don't see any red flags, but just again, something to consider where we've been at that 200 for several years. We appreciate the $5,000, that increase. And we'll just have to, all we can do is tell you we're monitoring it, and as soon as we know, we let you all know. It's not anything that's secret.
What was your ask this year?
205. We appreciate the increase. Yep. It was a modest increase, and it is helpful because that's about, we're seeing the increase as the bills come in. We're seeing people putting the delivery surcharges on things, and I compared last year's DOT inspections to this year's, and while they kept certain things at flat rate, when it came to the materials went up. The oil filters, the actual oil itself, that part went up. While they kept their labor costs the same, we saw the parts going up. And you see it at your house and everywhere else. So, I guess the only thing, I just made myself a note off to the side, did under operating, because I guess that's where it falls, is the council, wanting to get us to give you a draft of dividing the contract up into a memorandum of understanding, a memorandum of agreement that covers what I call all that boilerplate stuff that, we operate on a fiscal year, we need this, to sign that and have that kind of as a boilerplate, have that done. And the only thing that we worry about signing at budget time is a single-page document that says the budget. Yep.
So we've been kicking around a couple ideas. Steve, I don't know if you and Dean have come up with an idea about changing some funding sources for the fire company. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I think sometime in the spring, I guess it was near the end of the budget, we talked about the gap between, fire really not necessarily the piece, but the gap between the ask and what the town's able to budget. So I think it was the mayor that you brought up the possibility of the county potentially taking over funding in lieu of the town's annual grant and what that might look like.
And to Councilmember Orse's point, you brought up that the county really has those task force meetings. We talk a lot about the county funding formula already. Rather than the town asking and seeking a grant every year, an unrestricted grant from the county, to Councilmember Green's point, potentially having a conversation with the county and saying, you already do the formula, you already have those things squared away. Why don't we forego our unrestricted grant and just let you keep that and negotiate with the fire company about fire and EMS money.
So I was
It's
curious.
just one potential option.
Yeah.
It's not-
From your perspective, I mean, do you have any, being on the task force, is that just,
Just-
where did really get the idea where we tossed it around? So
Well, just writing it down. What's that number? Is it 450 now? Is that what-
No, so that wouldn't be relevant. What would be relevant is the town would forego, that's between us and the commissioners,
Right.
of foregoing our unrestricted grant. But we may see if that's something that they're open to, and if so, then we might shift that just to their,
Well, I guess the money is relevant because what kind of money are we talking about that you're not going to ask for that they're going to have at their fingertips? I guess.
so, well, I think that's also how you get to that amount, right? And there are different theories about how you arrive at that figure. But the important thing is that the town of Berlin citizens are already paying county taxes and municipal taxes. And if we can kind of centralize that negotiation, we might try to do that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll just have to look at it. That's all I
Right.
can-
But also, to your point about the contract, anything you could do to simplify
Correct.
that would be welcome.
Yeah.
Are you two talking, clarify this for me.
Yeah.
It's around about 400 and something,
No.
right?
That's higher than.
I thought it was 450.
The 450 rings in.
525.
Okay.
from the
Okay.
county, you're talking about the county grant?
Yeah.
Unrestricted amount.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
get
it-
525.
it's 525.
Okay.
So you're proffering, basically just let that go and push it right towards the fire company?
Well, I don't know about, that would be
We're saying that it would be a discussion with the commissioners, that the town no longer seek unrestricted grant funding from the commissioners every fiscal year. And in lieu, allow you all to use the funding formula you have with them to.
So this wouldn't be a basically take the 525 and
No.
say, goes to the fire department?
It
Okay.
would be between you all and them if we took that route.
Us in the county?
Correct.
Okay.
Which might be to your benefit. You could leverage it.
Yeah, go through the county association because they don't negotiate with each individual.
Originally,
fire.
it seemed like you were saying, take this money and give it to them.
Yeah.
And it seemed like you're saying, it's on you to negotiate it.
No, we're saying you already do a lot of the reporting for them already.
Right.
That we would just say, the town's going to take a step back from that and let you all handle it. If there's a need for a different relationship, that's between the commissioners and the town, like as far as funding goes.
And
It's
you
just
said
one idea.
Maybe
like-
it is to the benefit of us. Maybe it's to the detriment of you all.
But we
I'm not
can explore
sure.
it.
Well, that's true. Honestly, when it first came up, I was like, that actually might not be a positive for the town of Berlin, but it's something we have to really kind of look at, because like the formula, might not necessarily be advantageous to the town, but I think it's just an option and an opportunity perhaps to explore a different mechanism to meet the needs of,
Right, I hear what
Yeah.
Yeah, like Councilmember Green said, it's not a definite, it's just an idea that we've talked about along with simplifying contracts. We're just trying to throw anything we can at it and figure out how we can help everybody.
Yeah, and another thing that I mentioned to our attorney, to Mr. Moore, about after hearing either rumor or maybe I looked at the video on Facebook or something, is, and that's what he said, we could take all the, Mr. Gaston might have it, recitals, that's the word he used, all the recitals. He said, David, we could take all those recitals that never change, nobody argues over, that there's no debate that your fiscal year is July 1st or June 30th. All those recitals, that's the word he used. And just put them in a memorandum of agreement. You sign that in like December. That's off your plate, off the fire company corporation, off the EMS corporation's plate, off the town's plate.
Wouldn't repeat it every year.
And yeah, you would put in there a clause, like you said, it'd be reviewed, and it's got to have an escape clause, 90 days notice, and whatever you get out of it. But all that's kind of just, it's boilerplate, it's the recitals, and you don't have to go through 3 pages. You'll have a 1-page document that, here's what the budget is, here's how it gets paid out, and that's it. It's not 3 pages that you have to look through and see, did somebody have a typo, or put a comma, or put a word in by
Things we
accident.
agree on.
Things
We all
that are-
agree
The
to.
recitals, that's the word he used, that's the correct word. So, all right, so.
Capital?
So capital, just, you'll get that usually around December. That'll be all of our new apparatus, our new engines here. I talked to the committee chair today, actually last week, and we may send you on email. He's got to see, he's got to go back for a couple little things. We may have it available on the 13th, if that's a Sunday, the 12th Sunday, have it outside for people to come look at, so you all be invited up, come take a peek at it. If it's still going to be here, it does have a little tweaking like anything. But we thought of that day because it would be the day after the cruisers, our antique would be unloaded too. So that'd be pretty cool in the firehouse, having 1924 and a 2025 there for people to come look at. Put some signs up here for farmers market people. They park down there anyway. They can walk in and see it. It's also Fire Convention Week, so three things tied together. So
What was the date on that?
October 12th, that's a Sunday.
Do you have a time?
We'd probably do it like 10 to 1 or something during the farmer's market. We've got the manufacturer coming in, like, do some training, so he's going to check.
The 13th is, how long that yet?
Is it in service yet? No.
No, it's got no odds and ends to be mounted, what have you. But just the capital funding, just, again, you hear us say it, we are using the out-of-town run funds to pay that $200,000 loan payment that's due every August until 2038. And that makes us financially strapped so that we cannot finance another truck probably until 2038, which will make our 1998 truck 40 years old. So I don't think anybody drives a 40-year-old automobile unless they have it for an antique, but not their daily driver.
Okay, how old's yours?
Maybe
2001.
2001, well, you're halfway there.
And not for nothing, as always, if anybody has a question or just wants to come see a fire truck and ask questions,
Yep.
everybody's got my cell phone, to call me, and I'll meet you up there for a boutique tour.
So that's on the capital. And then the recruitment retention, that was brought up at our last reporting meeting. Again, it was asked by Jack. I looked today at the address list, I had printed out the address labels, so I counted up. So we've got about 18 to 20 members of the 50 to 55 that live in town. Some cohabitate, we got a husband, wife, or we got firemen and 3 kids in there. So you're probably talking about 17 residences. And then we got like 3 other people that rent, that are in town, don't own their house. So again, it's something you think about. Wycomico County, the county doesn't do Wycomico. They offer, $1,500 off their real estate taxes. Again, we know it affects your revenue, anything that you take off your revenue. But again, it's recruitment and retention tools, and especially to get people to live in town. That's the response. When we're volunteers, the closer they live to the main station, or any of the stations, but when they live in town, they're closer to our main station that has the majority of our apparatus. It brings the response time down. We do have other recruitment, retention things that the state does. They have an income tax thing. We get so much of our income taxes. Our income tax revenue is reduced by $7,500. That only equates, depending on what tax bracket you're in, it's only a couple $100 off your taxes. It's not like we get $7,500 off what we owe. It's if we make $20,000 a year, $7,500 comes off of that. They've tried to get it raised to $10,000 for the last 3 years. Just for the state budgets, they just doesn't pass, doesn't get through that committee.
You don't think the members living outside of town would be upset for not getting it done?
Well, and that's,
They can always move into town.
Well,
Still, people become disgruntled.
I do, and I will tell you, being over in Wycomico when it was discussed, the rent, we heard great from the renting people because they're not getting anything. Well, I rent, I choose to rent, I want to live in an apartment because I don't want any headaches. God, I'm not getting anything that guy got
Right.
$1,500 off. So it's a two-way street, but anything you can do, as the chief just interjected it, maybe it gets somebody to live in town, and then you reap all the other charges that you get from.
my recommendation, since we don't handle our own billing for property taxes, would be to have that discussion with the county, and then if it's something you're interested in, we can certainly come up with maybe a shared cost on what that looks like.
We can certainly
I
answer
think
that.
that we would all be open to something like that, but since they handle the billing, if we go to adjust it, they're gonna say, good, but you handle your own billing.
Exactly.
And we're not gonna take that on.
No, no, okay, we'll ask those questions. Yeah.
First responder reduction.
Yep.
And you, Mr. Mayor, you probably already know, there's other counties doing it, and we're Chiefs Committee's efforting that.
I think it's good to do it with the county, and the nice part is that like, if the county wants to do a certain number, we can have that conversation with them, but maybe we get the municipalities to also have some skin in the game.
Yep.
Yep, so just put that on there. I mean, there is the county does provide the length of service award program, which is in the process of being updated so that members, every 5 years of service, they'll get 2,500 hours, not off of anything, they'll just get a 2,500 hour check. And again, try to keep people, the old program was you didn't see anything to the end. People are short-sighted now. You can, people that you know, people that you interview, if you own a business or your HR director here, the people look at, what's my dollar today? They're not looking at my retirement. Some do forward think, but a lot of people are that short-minded. So that's why the program is in the process of being changed. So they'll get a stipend every 5 years. So every time they click over a 5, 10, 15, 20, they'll get a stipend instead of it being all the way to the end. It also helps the county because then they don't have to do actuarials and guesstimating because it's a retirement plan and all that financial that they have to incur that expense. So this is a simple budget item. They look at how many people, boom, they put the budget for all the day.
So it's like a milestone bonus. And who pays that again?
The county.
The county.
Yeah, it used to be, like, it was to incentivize people to give time, but anybody who has any children who are under the age of 20 already knows, I want it and I want it now. That's how you get them at the door.
Yeah.
It's just easier to give them something.
And it's copied off the state income tax incentive.
Yeah.
The third, once you're in the company 3 years, then you get that income tax subtraction. So we kind of copied off that. After 3 years, the person would get a stipend, then every 5 after that. So again, like the chief just said, the young people keep them in. By the time 5 years goes by, they're, oh my God, this is killing me. I'm gonna get ready to quit. Then you remind them, hey, stay one more year, get 2,500 hours. You get in that year 8. Hey, remember at year 10, it might not be 2,500. It might go up down the road. You dangle that carrot. So, yep, I think I can tough it out for that. I think I'll keep coming.
So shift gears to EMS.
Before we do that, can I just a real recap, real quick here. So we're just going to say there's 20 of your 55 volunteers living in the boundaries of Berlin, give or take.
Yeah. I mean, it's right. I looked at the address label of this today.
Okay. All right. So 20. The discussion with the county on any type of tax incentive for volunteers, and also discussion with the county on any type of, I would just say umbrella funding. The fire company's gonna go talk to them about that?
We won't. I'll have it put on the strategic planning. I'll send it to Weston and have it put on the strategic planning.
Okay.
What do you mean
So
by
how will we as the town know the process, the progress of those discussions?
Are you talking about the unrestricted grant
Yes.
funds?
We'll take care of that.
Earlier?
So is that?
We'll take care of
that's-
that.
Yeah, we'll mention it to them.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, but you all will have to, because that's coming out of your budget. They're not gonna take our word for it that we walked down there and said, oh, take $5,000 out of town budget.
And add something to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we'll mention it.
Right.
And it's a topic of discussion, it's not a done deal.
Yeah.
No,
It's just an idea, like you said.
Okay.
It's
And
just
then-
an
A
idea.
topic of discussion.
And then for the contracts, we're looking at doing just basically a quote-unquote standard MOU that's reviewed every so often, I would suggest 2 years after an election. And then like a actual signed contract, the details, the amount. That's what we're
It'd
looking
be a
at.
simple one-page document after the budget's struck. Here's what the town approved in their budget. Here's how it's going to get paid. Refer to the MOA
Okay.
for all the recitals.
It's doable.
Is it the same amount of work or?
No.
I would think it'd be
The
less.
biggest, like David said, the biggest, I guess, pain in the butt sometimes is you know, I'm looking at last year's contract, and then, you know, you send over a new one, and I'm, okay, has anything changed? Is there something?
We have to do the same thing. Did Joe Moore send me the wrong one? You know?
Yes, I get that.
So does Joe want to draft, or does?
I think we've already drafted something, and I'll talk to Joe about sending to Dave Gasper. After I get the fire company's permission, I can't send anything without permission.
Yeah, that works. And then we got just one page here, here's how much you're getting and when you're getting it.
Yep, there you go.
Simple.
So that would leave out, because in the current contract now, I believe the meetings are not. Am I right?
That would all be in the recitals.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
They would remain, but it would just be,
Yeah, no, it's.
we all agree to it.
If it's gonna, if that's kind of the direction we're gonna take, then why don't we scrap the idea of the unrestricted side? If we're, what's up?
Why would you do that?
Well, because if we're gonna do the MOU and simplify the contract route, then what's the sense in
Well,
Because if they're negotiating with the county, they could potentially get more money.
And then these agreements wouldn't be eligible. We wouldn't even do them.
Right, we would need a contract.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, we would just do the boiler. stuff.
I'm saying if that's kind of the direction we want to go, and it's just a, hey, we're going to decide what we have available at the time of budgeting, then why even go bother with dealing with them?
I think I was thinking that that would be, like, if we can't figure out something with the county, that in
Okay.
the spring, the
Okay.
MOU would be like,
Yeah.
part of
Let's not wait
if
till
we're
next
back
meeting.
to the way it was.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know
I
what
just
mean?
wanted to make sure I was understanding the.
Yeah, no, I just really interested in that dialogue, and, you know, keep saying the same thing, we don't know where it's gonna go, but I just didn't.
There's nothing wrong with having the conversation, I just couldn't get a sense from
Yeah.
our team whether we were trying to change direction or what we wanted to do.
My sense was it was just kind of like a, that would be if something can't be worked
Parallel
out.
path.
Is that right?
Well, I mean, sorry, so I'm speaking for me, I think that either way, I think an MOU or an MOA still works out well because that would determine, well, I guess we wouldn't.
We wouldn't need it.
So,
Yeah.
So we can prepare
So, yeah,
it
that's-
that way,
It's there.
like you all said, it's there, ready to go. And if it doesn't work out, then you got the documents there, we won't spend hours and hours on it for attorney's time for either side.
Right.
We'll get it thrown out there, take a quick gander at it.
And you guys will be the ones to tee up that
And
conversation.
then you guys.
Right.
We've already had a initial conversation with them following the mayor and council meeting. But then we held off on sending a letter formalizing the request until we met with you. We wanted to meet with you first and then have that.
Gotcha. And then I apologize, I didn't put it on there, but Jay had asked about in-kind services. So,
While that's being distributed, so when will we likely know from the county if there's a, on their end?
We're going to send them a letter.
and,
So we'll see what they say.
We're taking back around.
I just think-
that-
I keep thinking there's more than one sheet.
before we move on, I'm not gonna try to get this up too much, but, so, because we're gonna send a letter to the county, is there anything, because you're on the task force, that you're not thinking about, that you think would be a hiccup, that, from the county's perspective, just that?
I don't want to put words in the
Yeah.
county's mouth. My first inclination, and again, I don't want to speak, is if one does it, they're going to want
The
to,
precedent.
to make it simple, they're going to need to pile all that money because Berlin doesn't get anything different than Newark, than Bishopville with the formula. So you throw this extra $525,000 in there, now you got to come up with some other column that Berlin gets that special. Not speaking for them, but I could, but you never know what the other outtake the other municipalities are. You never know. So I apologize for not putting it on the agenda because I looked at my notes today and again, Jay asked about the in-kind services and I did some research, talked to like Charlie and Joe, been there 55 years, Harry. Basically, the in-kind service that we get from the town is just the metered usage of the meter gets read, but we don't get charged for the usage. And then when the Wheeler trash cans came, I had to go back and look through some old emails, refresh my memory. When Mr. Fleetwood was the town administrator, he, first we started getting complaints about trash blowing around out there on the back lot, Harrison, and people walking through. So he offered I'll call it a public trash can to be put on the fire company, and the public works dropped it, but all that did was, that made it worse. Because the people saw a trash can, now they just kept bringing stuff. So we took that away. But we did get the waste wheelers, if that's what you call it, if that's the proper term for it, put our trash in. Those wouldn't hurt us if they went away or you started charging for commercial trash pickup, because we've got a dumpster anyway. We do use them, but
You don't need them.
no, we don't need them. There's no harm. If the town started tomorrow, had to charge everybody for trash on a separate pickup, we'd probably take them, pick them up, got a dumpster out back. Again, something that Mr. Fleetwood started is he would call us and, hey, does the town public works need to go across the front part of the headquarters, 214 North Main Street, and push the parking lot so the firemen have a place to park, come up for emergencies. The county provides that to us if we need it, even in municipal limits. And we did that ourselves for years. Different ones of us have.
We do that currently for you still.
You do, yes, yeah, you do. I was just, Jay asked, right down.
It seems to be whoever's driving by.
Yeah, whoever's driving by us, and we
We're going to
appreciate
go
it.
right by it, whereas the county would actually kind of have to come out of the way.
Well, it's a state, we're all on a state road.
Yeah.
So if they come
Does
by.
the
and
state,
say
does
that-
the state
In
do
state
it?
of-
If somebody comes in and says, it looks like crap, they're just gonna catch it.
Yeah, they catch it. Usually it's a good bathroom break for them, and a coffee break. They know there's going to be coffee at the firehouse, so they swing in. So we appreciate it. So we just, like I said, you asked for it to be documented. Something else that, as we're taking this along, we do allow the police department, they take advantage of coming there. We have a wash bay in the back, soap, water, and all that stuff. It's a good place for them to, it's a couple
And
thi-
in the
couple
wintertime,
things it
they can
does.
come inside and
They
wash
can come
it.
inside and wash their vehicle. Camaraderie with the fire ambulance people, we get to talk to the police, as well as, a safe place to do it. They've got their weapons and what have you. You just don't want to be everywhere washing your vehicle. And then, of course, what we provide back to the town is the 50 to 55 volunteers that we're providing. So that's.
We also include you all in our cable negotiations, and we fund any refills of the tankers and all that stuff for out-of-town calls.
I would have to ask, is your intent, if you were to bill us for water?
It's not our intent.
Okay.
Our intent is to
I
start.
guess filling apparatus.
Our intent
gets
is
into a very
to-
sticky wicket.
Well, no, so hold on. Our intent is to start letting you know exactly how much water you're using. Your rate will still continue to be at a flat rate, but your bill will show this is how much you consume, this is what it would cost, and this is what your bill actually is.
We are required to track every drop of water.
Sure, I
We have
guess
a lot of-
environmental things.
Well, plus we have a lot of water loss, so what we're probably also going to do is try to have you all fill at a central hydrant so that we can start to monitor some of that as well.
If we're filling in town, we're probably coming off you'd have to ask Jamie, but the
We would
water
work
tower
with you all.
across the street
Yeah.
is probably where we're getting our water.
Yep, we would work with you all to identify that, but right now we have over 20% water loss,
Right.
and we need to figure that out because we're exceeding the.
Yeah, the only reason I'd be reticent to agree to any sort of centralized hydrant filling in cold weather, when it gets really cold, I don't want to put a slick of ice
Right.
on a sidewalk or road, but we will make one.
Yeah, of course, and
So-
plus, we also know that during an emergency, any hydrant's fair game.
Sure, yeah. But when it just comes to, we're mindful of when the temperature gets cold, and then when it gets really cold, we don't want to make
Right.
an ice skating rink on a road or a sidewalk.
But no, I think you all used like 20,000, 23,000 gallons last month, so. Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing, it's just.
No, and, as we have a new fire truck that we're going to be learning to pump, we're going to be using more.
We're not upset about it, I'm just saying that we're
No,
trying to gather data about where that water loss is
Sure.
coming from. It's not that we're gonna increase your bill, but you will actually see what your actual consumption
We
is.
may need to allocate additional EDUs.
We might,
Again, it's a
yeah.
capacity thing, it's a tracking.
Did this get to what you were looking for?
Yeah, no, that's exactly, thank you.
All right, let's get to EMS.
So EMS, we don't need to really discuss it, number one.
I agree.
So number two, I did the same thing there. I want to see how EMS does. And in that formula, so I want to talk about the EMS funding formula, but I guess with what Steve was saying, if that's the appetite more for the mayor and council. What my ask was for tonight, if we were gonna do an EMS funding formula, we need to get a committee together and start working on it. Meeting as a group every 6 months, we're never gonna come up with a formula. If the appetite is more toward
I think we need one more.
more toward the suggestion. Too short. Well, that's, I'm sorry, that's all I got.
I got one.
Copy.
Here, look, I'm going to return the favor.
Thank you.
So, if that's more the appetite of the unrestricted funds, then we don't need to waste everybody's time. But if that's something that we're going to look at a run formula based on our in-town runs, then that's something that we, need to meet more regularly on and get a little committee going together. So again, that was the purpose of putting it on the agenda, because we're not going to get anywhere.
Dave, can I ask, from you referred earlier to the, I think, the strategic planning for on the county level. To the best of your knowledge, I know you can't speak for the group and definitely, but do you have any insight on what they're kind of feeling in the future about the EMS in the county? And the individual departments?
The current, we haven't met, we haven't met since the spring, because we don't meet in the summertime, and we don't meet just to meet. We have to have items on the agenda. The appetite from the county commissioners and the staff, the administration, has been as long as the organizations that are providing EMS can continue to do that, and the county can fund it, that's what will continue. If you're asking about a county department, they're not going to come in, their appetite is not to come in and take anybody over. If somebody would come to them and say, we can't do this anymore for X, Y, Z reasons, then they would sit down and talk with that entity, whichever entity that may be, and say, what's the issue?
Which will be money.
Well, no, it could work, it could be management, it'd probably be money, but it could be just, you can't manage it anymore.
Right.
You know?
I'm just trying to,
It's
I'm
more
not to
than
cut
you
you
can
off.
handle.
I'm just trying to get a sense because, as far as I know, I mean, perhaps the mayor does, but these meetings that we have with you, these work sessions, is where I learn, or maybe in the open, is where I hear what's going on with the strategic planning on the county. So you're like the link, if you will.
And that's
So,
what we're supposed to do.
yeah, so I'm just trying to kind of see what, and I know you don't meet, I don't want to say you don't meet often, but you don't meet in the summer, and if you don't have anything really to talk about, you don't
So
need to meet.
we'll probably meet
So-
in October, November, because again, it'll be direction from the county to the strategic planning, which then goes to the county association about, hey, get ready for the budget, here's what we're looking at, just like you do with your department heads. They treat us just like a department and tell us, here's what we're looking at, any issues, and we tell them our staffing issues, what they might be. So there's open communication with them.
But to spool up a county system would be,
You'd have to start with
it is,
certain-
but
that's how you would start.
Somerset is serving as a very cautionary tale. But to bring up a county system, just to give you like a 1-minute rundown on issues that jump we've all got our own employees, each place. But if you just say, let's put them all in a county system. Somebody doesn't show up for work, they call out sick, and nobody can fill the spot, we hold someone over involuntarily. You have to stay. In a county system, let's say the vacancy, you're working in Bishopville, but the holdover's in Pocomoke. Off to Pocomoke you shall go. Additionally, most counties that are run like Somerset, they can't cross staff into the fire truck. So, we rely on career staffing sometimes to get the fire truck out. If the county says no, we have a problem. If the county says, my EMS employee is not getting on your fire truck, that's an issue. Insofar as supervising, you have different pay structures across all the departments. So that
That's
means
one of the questions I have. You
somebody's
also
going to
have-
take a pay cut and
you
someone's
all-
going to get a pay raise.
Well, you all currently have vacancies, is that correct? In your career personnel?
Yes, we do.
How many
3 paramedics.
out of?
Out of 8.
Yeah, two per shift.
And the challenge is probably salary, right?
Not really, I'm going to say yes and no, because our
Yeah.
salary is pretty competitive now. It's just there's nobody out there. They're not coming out of the classes. We cannot do what I just had a whole conversation.
They're not graduating out, they're not making it.
Well, yeah, they don't make it, so about a 50% pass rate at times.
But they're going to greener pastures.
They're gonna go to somewhere that's gonna make $70,000, $80,000 a year. We're in the 60s in here, high 50s to 60s. The other thing is the time that it takes. So, and we've talked about this with the county, so I have to equate it to police. And people, I'm sure Chief Dowdy, you're all very familiar. He hires a public citizen off the street with no police experience. He can send them to Warwick for 6 months. He can train them a few more months or weeks, whatever his rules are. And I can say in less than a year, he has a police officer. Paramedic school is 2 years. So nobody can afford to have an employee gone for 18 months, 24 months, getting very little, if any, work out of them for that period of time. It just takes too long. There are, when these places, I'll say like they do it in 6 months, and they can afford to do it. They jam it all together, Monday through Friday, how many hours a day?
Whenever you go on the day work.
You
basically
go on day
also
work, and you knock it out. You go to Chesapeake College or Warwick, it's 1 or 2 days a week, and a Saturday, or a couple of nights, or 4 days a week.
No, I didn't realize the EMT school was 2 years.
So paramedic.
Sorry.
So
Have you
EMT,
guys worked with any of your staff that maybe want to advance to that?
Yes.
we're working with 2 of them now. And when it comes to that same issue, cover their shifts when they're gone, how to cover that shift for 18 to 20 months.
We've made a big stride in the right direction to grow our own, because that seems to be the only.
We found the same thing. We did the same thing with apprentice
Yeah,
programs.
we determined that maybe the smartest way for us to do this is to take it's a hard road to hoe for us, but grow our own in-house. And if we can help them with that, then we're gonna do what we gotta do to help them get there. And then the applicant pool, it's thin. It's really thin. And sometimes you get people in that hold a card, or when I say hold a card, hold a paramedic card.
Yes.
But you find out that person lacks what we expect of our people to serve this town. And,
The expectation here is different than out there in the state.
No.
some places they have
Quality
so
of the
many.
providers.
Yeah, I think you know where I'm gonna take this. Some places, there's so many people that if you have a weak link, you can collapse down on it and cover. We don't have that, so we need the best.
That was always
we
the
need
best part about Berlin, is that you work down your protocols.
Sometimes, especially if the call volume is such that you're on your own, we expect you to deliver every time, all the time, and they do. In a tight job market, in an incredibly tight job market, you get lackluster candidates who, and the only way to suss them out is put them out there and see what happens. And if they don't meet the grade, and sometimes they come to that conclusion themselves. But what we expect and what our employees deliver every day, all the time, is they are one-man, one-woman armies, and they can function out there in the worst, and we don't have to worry about them. And if we bring, somebody in who may not cut the mustard, that we'll make a tough decision and we'll run back to a vacancy, because we need to know that all of the citizens in our first do can expect day in and day out the best, and that's what we're going to deliver. Sometimes it leads to vacancies.
Do you have any kind of scholarship program?
The county does. Really what you're seeing now, departments everywhere are moving towards the grow your own in-house, because we've all figured out.
Right.
Ocean City does it, Salisbury does it. Big municipalities learned that about 10 years ago.
Berlin's done it.
Yeah. So a scholarship, the state offers a 85% reimbursement for tuition fees if you get your paramedic, right? So let's say, hypothetically, we meet you halfway and give you the leave for free, and you pass. Now, you have to pay for paramedic school on your own, so you have some skin in the game. You want to pass. But once you pass that, you didn't have to cash out any of your leave, and the state's going to give you 85%, and the county might help you out the rest of the way. So,
Yeah, County changed theirs. They used to do 100%, but we had nobody had any skin in the game, so I think it's either 90-10 or 80-20 now.
And that's-
reimbursable.
they can get an associate's degree, is that what you get?
If they want to do AAS.
You know, not to sound callous, I'm not too interested in people getting associate's degrees, I'm interested in quality paramedics. So if they want to go that route, there's stuff out there that you can go get, but insofar as get a quality paramedic on the street,
Right.
that's, you know, eyes on the prize, that's what we're looking
And
at.
Ocean City's fortunate because I'm on the Paramedic Foundation. We fund all their school.
Yes, you do,
Paramedic,
and not
EMT,
just paramedic.
Bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, everything.
We offer, and the county does not offer anything that even remotely resembles that. You know, if the Paramedic Foundation wanted to wander into the county and start something like that, I'm sure there'd be
I
many
tried,
people.
believe me, I tried.
The time is what kills us, the time period, to get a great police officer, getting somebody on the street in 8 months, less than a year. Can't do it, paramedic, takes a long. So you have to recruit, but our pay, Ocean City just raised their pay to meet our pay.
Yeah, money is,
Yes, advertise.
at the end of the day, money is the great.
That was my point, like,
Yeah.
you all compete against yourselves sometimes, the county system. You all, one department might raise a salary and then the next one's chasing that. I think you all in your meetings need to come together a little bit about maybe working together on a set salary so that you're not.
Until that job
taking-
market slacks up.
taking care of-
I'm a piranha. You know, we have vacancies, we need to fill them. So until the job market's flush, you know, you don't want to sit here and say, I don't care what your problem is. My boat is sinking. I got to keep my boat afloat. We are not sinking. But we worry about Berlin and Berlin's fire district first. And if we have to, like you said, just almost snipe at one another with pay, then that's just the rules of the game until we somehow find more paramedics. Or until the economy collapses and people see this as a steady job with a decent pay.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that strategic planning and the pay parity. It backfires on you because if I'm just gonna throw a number out, if I'm gonna make $20 an hour and come to Berlin and run 2,000 calls a year, and I can go to Newark and run 100 calls a year for $20 an hour, where am I gonna go to work? I'm gonna go to work in Newark. So we have killed that pay parity because we see it happening, because when we see these little companies, when they raise up, especially our part-time people, we watch our part-time people, when a smaller company raises their pay, our part-time paging, well, they're not answering.
Yeah, they stay on our payroll,
And you call them up and say, little mister, why aren't you working 8 shifts here? Well, I'm working on to Newark because I go there most of the time and I know I might have one call. If I can work for you guys, you got a list of duties, 4 pages long, and we're probably gonna run 10 ambulance calls.
Yeah.
So they remain on everybody's
So-
roster, but they scurry in a group to where.
So we all stay pretty close.
Yeah, but his point is valid. I mean, you're just constantly.
It's a circular
spinning
firing
that wheel.
squad,
Yep.
is what it is.
Yeah.
But until something externally changes, namely the job market,
Right.
we're probably all going, and you see that, this isn't a unique to Worcester County thing.
Yeah, nationwide.
We will all be in this giant circular firing squad, firing away. Then, you know, he who brings the, or she who brings the best, usually it's pay, wins.
The nice part that we find with, when you send somebody to school, is we typically have a contract with them that says that they continue to stay employed with us for a period of time. We would advise you all to probably take the same route.
You
We
don't-
already have it.
I know, I'm just
Yeah,
putting it out.
yeah, they need to remain.
I know what used to be there, I don't know what's there now, but.
Yeah, you remain with us, or it's incumbent upon you to pay us back full G,
How long do you have to do?
3 years,
3?
to remain.
That's reasonable.
Ours
Some
is
places
2.
are less.
Ours is 2.
What fire department universe seems to be.
Ours is
3.
2, either for, the sheriff's department, for electric.
It's 1 for 1, but 2 for police.
We're basically, I mean, this was a anecdotal research, but all of us work in a million different places, and we all, I mean, you got people who work from, you know, 3 different municipalities across 4 different, across the bridge, everywhere on the shore. What's that, basically you bring together everyone saying, what's everyone doing? And 3 is the number. Some places do 2, some places do 3. Seems
Either
to be
way,
the
it's
magic
important to
number.
have something.
Yeah, yeah.
Do figure out what you want, but I mean, it's important.
Right, and the idea is not so much to recoup what we lost, that's important, but the bigger idea is keep them here. Yeah, it's not about settling a score, you know what I mean? It's, how can I keep you here with us? And that's at least the first step to do.
All right, I think we're at capital funding, if there's anything that we're missing.
Yep. So, there's,
Part-time, holdovers, overtime. That's, I mean, and we are excellent at keeping our staffing where it needs to be.
We need 2 more this time.
oh, I do have to, sorry. I said a whole bunch of them.
And that's, frankly, that's really everywhere.
Yeah.
If you look at department budgets, at least in the mid-Atlantic to the East Coast, their overtime budgets, you know, they're all on fiscal years, they've already exploded past it by December. And your options are shut a unit down or pay. Baltimore City is the only one that really shuts units down because they just don't have the money. Everybody else just pays out numbers.
So on the EMS capital funding, that's just an updated cash flow sheet. So again, just shows you that where we are with the balances, what our revenue is, and then what we have going out. So we will have to borrow money in December to pay for the ambulance refinance in 2027 again. Well, that'll be paid off, but finance that ambulance. The issue is going to be, which I'm meeting with the bank in the next couple of weeks, is when we get to the 2029 ambulance. You got one that's not paid off, and then another one you're going to have to finance almost the whole thing 100%. So that's what the bank will tell us. Just like any other business, just because public safety doesn't meet that, you know, we have to meet the criteria of the bank to borrow the money. So again, we've got over the 3 years of the capital, but I guess that's something for the town to be looking at, those casino funds. Because that's where it came before, for the $15,000, but we're definitely going to need some help, because you can see what's going to happen. We can't go down less than 3 ambulances. It takes 3 to run 2. A lot of times, you got something either broke down, or it's got to, just like your personal vehicle, you got to go for an oil change. Yeah. Calls that are simultaneous, 2 calls at a time. You've got 4 people working. Got to have ambulances there.
What are Shao, Bishopville, and Newark doing? Because this ambulances cost the same.
Yep.
How are they funding them?
They're stretching them out, and they can stretch them a little further because their mileage as well.
So reduce call volume.
Reduce call value, so they'll stretch an ambulance to like 15 years, or they'll also buy, just talking to somebody this morning, they'll buy a used ambulance, and I don't want to name the company because it's pretty embarrassing. They bought a used ambulance from another company, and now, as the person told me, it's been a bit of butt because it's always broke down all the time.
Or you'll see somebody else's ambulance running calls.
In their first duty?
Correct.
So they'll scratch a call, or
Well, not the vehicle, not the humans.
Right.
Yeah.
It still has the markings of.
marking the
Correct.
if there's one available. And we've had to do that. We've been fortunate that Ocean City used to be able to loan us ambulances pretty regularly, but that's kind of gone by the wayside because their staff, we've got so many people. When I worked there was 34 people, now there's 100 so.
So 10 years, how many miles you put on it?
So the ambulances that'll go out here now will be about 90 to 100,000 miles. I just looked at the DOTs, 2 of them had 85. Those got 51, but as we've shown you before, when we showed you the repair schedule, it's not always about the mileage.
Mileage is
The mileage is the least thing. You don't look at the mileage, it's the hours. The ambulance is
Because
high idle.
let's say it's sitting for 2 hours here in town,
Okay.
but you only went from there to there to AGH. So mileage-wise, you're not really doing much, but hours-wise, the vehicle is running and it kicks over to high idle to support the electrical system and all the
So that's what we're running to.
multitude of things.
Electrical starts failing, the other components start failing because of the hours and the high idle, the mileage. You don't take our personal vehicle and go from 0 to 75 miles an hour every time, but that ambulance is doing that. And I'm exaggerating because it got to be out on the highway, but from here to your house, they're not going to go 75, but they are going to accelerate. It's going to sit outside of your house. As the chief said, it's not going to idle. It's going to be loud. You're going to be, what is that loud noise outside of my house? Well, that's the ambulance whose electronic components have said, I can't idle at 1,000 RPMs. I need to be running at 3,000 RPMs because you got all the lights going.
Yeah, vehicle hours and call out is how you make it.
And safety.
Suss out how an ambulance works. Because again, you know, I'm a heart on my full-time job. The busiest companies are ostensibly right next to the hospital. Yet within 3 years, their ambulances are falling apart and they buy brand new. And they are beat to smithereens after 3 years.
Salisbury?
What's that? No, interrupt, you know, I mean, they're just destroyed. We at least care for ours.
Are you guys getting diverted to Salisbury more?
Yeah, I look at it. I mean, I'm running.
Do you
some-
mean on a capacity or a ability to handle
Nature.
OB?
Yeah.
Nature, they say that's gonna get better shortly.
I've just noticed.
I mean, you're
Organizational-wide.
beholden to, is the CT scanner up? Do they have an ortho on? OB almost always is gonna go in there anyway, but,
Anybody on a blood thinner, they won't take anybody on blood thinner.
yeah, and they have,
At all?
Nope, if you're on a blood thinner,
No,
as soon as you mention that.
well, it
word-
depends on what age you
Well,
are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it depends what the ailment is too.
Yeah, yeah.
If I got a sprained finger, but
Yeah.
if you've had a fall or anything like
a
that.
traumatic injury in an older person on one thing is, so there's, but crashes, in the last 2 years, I'd say, that, again, this is anecdotal, but I ride an ambulance in Ocean City. Any crash, doesn't matter the speed, when the airbags come out, off to Salisbury you go. Now, I will always consult and try to wriggle my way into AGH, but no. And as you well know, once the unit heads for Salisbury, downtime on the unit, not just the travel time, but more the
How long
downtime.
without-
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about wear and tear as much as I am, is the unit available for service here in town? And then once you get a crash, two vehicles, even if it's just 25 miles an hour and they bump each other, but both cars' airbags deployed, both units are going to Salisbury now. So,
That
and that's,
could all change in the future with the merger between AGH and Tyler, and redoing their whole.
I don't know how much,
service
I don't
center.
know.
Yeah.
It'll take a while to get better, I would think.
Yeah,
Well, but it's being worked on now.
for the foreseeable future, it also depends on the doctor who's working. If the doctor says, I'm not taking it, off you go. So they could have, you know, one of those Da Vinci robots there. If the doctor decides, I'm not taking
I
it,
just saw that robot.
if the doctor says no, then off you go, off the road you go. So, and again, now with airbags popping out on two cars, everybody's out of service. Well, not out of service, but you won't have any EMS units in Berlin for 90 minutes, if not more.
All right, anything else before we wrap it up? All right, thank you all, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have another one of these in March. so-